Good morning. I'm sitting in my comfy chair today to read. I'm on chapter 16, page 134. Cole is back in, or heading back to Alaska after Garvey and Edwin had agreed to be his sponsors, be completely responsible for him. And so that's where we're kind of going into this story. Cole's pulse quickened as the island drifted into view. It had been fall the last time he had made this trip, and then he had been wearing handcuffs and almost lost his life. Now, spring air chilled his skin. Behind Cole sat Garvey and Edwin, joking with each other and gripping the gunwales to brace themselves. That's the side of the boat. There had been a heavy chop in the water ever since they left Drake an hour ago. Cole looked back. It had been a month since Edwin first announced this return to the island, and, true to his word, he had insisted that every penny of the second banishment be funded by the sale of Cole's belongings in Minneapolis. If Cole wasted this chance, nobody would pay a penny. It had irked Cole watching his sports gear, including his dirt bike, snowmobile, bicycle, skis, and even his helmet, all sold through a newspaper ad like some junk at a cheap garage sale. So all of his stuff was sold: dirt bike, snowmobile. He squirmed on the hard aluminum boat seat. The sale no longer bothered him. If he messed things up now, he would lose much more than a snowmobile. As the skiff, which is the small boat, circled the point into the bay, Cole felt a rush of excitement. He scanned the thick timbered slopes. Low, overcast skies made the forest as forbidding as he remembered them. Was the spirit bear still out there prowling like a ghost under the thick canopy of spruce trees? The thought of the big animal sent a shudder down Cole's spine. He kept eyeing the trees as the boat approached the shore. "Jump out and keep the bow off the rocks," Edwin ordered. Cole removed his shoes and flung them ashore. Then obediently he vaulted over the side into the hip-deep water. The icy cold grabbed at his breath and reminded him of his attempt to escape the island. That swim now seemed more like a nightmare from another lifetime. He must have been crazy. Question number 1 is, why is Cole having this realization that his attempt to escape the island before was not a smart idea, a nightmare? Question number 1. Wind blowing directly into the small protected bay had churned up the heavy surf, and Cole fought to steady the heaving boat. It was hard not being able to grip strongly with his right hand. So the author's giving us evidence of the struggles that Cole's facing with his right arm not working. Garvey swung himself into the water on the opposite side and helped guide the skiff into shallower water. Then, with Cole struggling to hold the bow, Edwin passed ashore the heavy boxes of basic supplies that they had brought to go with the building materials delivered earlier by a larger boat. When the skiff floated empty, Edwin stepped into the water, and all three dragged the aluminum boat out of the surf over the rocks and well above the high tide mark. Try to swim away in this water and it'll kill you," Edwin warned Cole. "I won't be running away," Cole said, retrieving his shoes. Already his feet were numb from the water. "We'll see, won't we?" Edwin said. "So what do we do first?" Cole asked, looking up toward the tree line at a stack of the building materials. "We don't do anything," Garvey said. "Everything is up to you now." Question number 2. How is Cole going to react to the idea that he's going to have to do all the work? They're not going to help him. And what do you think of that? "Edwin and I will stay a few days until you finish building the shelter. Any questions? Fine. But you're carrying the ball now. You're going to prove your commitment. Get a fire going first and then set up the tent." The two men headed down to the shoreline. Garvey called back, "Have supper ready in 2 hours." Standing alone, Cole eyed the aluminum skiff sitting unguarded. He wanted to escape. If he wanted to escape, now would be the perfect time. He shook his head. This time he would stay. He began scouring the shoreline for firewood. Why does Cole already have it in his mind that he's going to stay? What does that prove? What does that show about Cole? When the men returned 2 hours later, they found Cole putting up a tent. Why isn't supper ready? Edwin asked. So I'm going to stop there because I want to be able to reflect about what Cole's building up to. Like, how's he reacting? They had given him the direction that he has to do everything by himself and that he's supposed to have, like, supper ready for them 2 hours later, but he didn't do it. And now they're asking him, where's supper? So I know what comes next, which is why I'm stopping here, because there's an analogy coming. And I want to be able to have that as a separate conversation. So this one's about 6 minutes long. I'll see you guys at 11. Be ready to discuss those 3 questions. And any questions that you might have.